Good morning. Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. Our Amud Yomi Shiur meets every day, 9:25, 10:25 in the Avos Shalom Shul. You're all welcome to join us here in Shul or in Torah anytime or on Zoom. Or on YouTube channel. We are in Maseches Kiddushin, Daf Nun Amud Beis in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says as follows: Amekadesh Isha Ubita. A person approached two women, a woman and a daughter, or Isha Vachoisa, a woman and her sister, in other words, two sisters, Keachas. He was Mekadesh both of them in one go. He gave two prutas, let's say, and he told them, Arei Atem Mekudosh Li, 1, 2, 3, and he gave it to their hands together. Both are Mekudosh to me. Are you allowed to marry your wife's sister, your wife's mother, your wife's daughter? The answer is no. If you marry your shviger, you really can't. You're a shaita. But even without that, it's an Isser chorus. In case, Isser chorus. So if you mekadesh isha obita, isha nechoiso keachas, enan mekodoshois. The Kiddushin do not apply. The fact that the Kiddushin doesn't apply is not a Chiddush. Rashi says enan mekodoshois. Says Rashi ve'en achas men tzricha get. Oh. In other words, one could claim that maybe we don't know which one's which. In other words, maybe the Kiddushin would catch on one of them, not the other. Maybe one of them is the real wife, and the other one is the one who's the relative, called the erva, the one you're not allowed to be with. Yeah. So maybe you can view it as one of them is mukadeshes, one is not, and I don't know which one is the good one, which one is the erva of the good one. So maybe at least one of them should need the get, right? And then I would say that she's megureshes, right? And the other one is not, the other, the Maisa can't be with the other one afterwards either, by the way, because the Maisa, you can't marry your divorcee sister either. But at least the wife should at least require a get, mitzad her. Yeah. No, you can't. Dies, okay. Yeah, you can marry your almona's sister, but you can't marry your grusha sister. Yeah. But Lamaisa, vis-a-vis her, these two women, we say, send them to the shuk. They're not ishat at all. Let's focus on the women. If they want to marry anybody they want, no problem. Because they received Kiddushin from one guy, because Makadosh both, 1, 2, 3, go together. The two women together, then nothing applies whatsoever. And none of them is even a Sofik Eshutish, right? We don't say that maybe the Kiddushin applied to one and not the other. We don't know which one, and maybe you require both of them to get a get, right, in order to allow them to marry on. We don't say that. Nothing ever started. And the Gemara will explain why. Umaisa. Now, a very interesting story, but that's a Maisa Shahoyo. The Mishnah quotes a story that really happened. Umaisa b'chamesh noshim. There were 5 women all in one go. This guy is an interesting guy. Wants to marry 5 women together. B'chamesh noshim. 5 white dresses. B'chamesh noshim ubahen shtei achoyos. 2 out of the 5 were sisters. The person collected a basket full of figs. He had in his hands a basket full of figs. The shaloen hoisa. This is a detail which is not so relevant to our Mishnah. It's a side point. Those te'enim belong to them. They belong to the women, right? The shvis hoiso. It was a time of shvis. In other words, these women, I'm talking now in general because it's not so much the topic, I'm just translating. Those women, they had a field of te'enim, and he collected it from their field and gave it to them. Now, had it been not shmita, you can't be mekadesh a woman with what you stole from the woman. You stole from her the figs, let's say, then you give her the figs. You stole and then you give it to her. That's not Kiddushin. We had that issue, by the way, in Daf, I think Ches Amud Aleph, something like that. Yeah, so that doesn't work. Masha'en can, because it's shmita, it works. Because in shmita, I'm allowed to. Anybody can come to the field of anybody and pick whatever he wants, and then it became mine, and then I'm mekadesh them. That's a side point. We're not going to discuss it today. We'll discuss later. But the main point is, wait a second, we're talking what? 2 sisters out of 5 women, right? The Omar, he said, that man, all of you are mekudosh to me, all 5 stars, all of you are mekudoshes to me with this basket. Zu, in this kalkala. The kibla achas men alidei kulan. One of them accepted it on behalf of everybody. The representative of the kala's rep. Yeah, she accepted the basket case, the basket on behalf of her body from him. Chachamim said the three women are mekudesh. L'chatchila, you're not supposed to do that, to marry two women in one go and marvin simcha b'simcha. But if you did it, 3 out of 5 are mekudoshos, but the two sisters are not mekudoshos. Yeah, the two sisters, because they're sisters, just like the Reisha said that when you mekadosh two sisters together, then nothing doing. Mimela, so too the two sisters out of the group, they're not mekudoshes. If you want to ask what's the chiddush, the Gemara will tell us a lot of chidushim from the Seifa. Not only it's not a chiddush, it's in a way even contradicting the Reisha if we look in the depth of it, but we'll leave that for later. Zokt the Gemara, frekt the Gemara, minani mili. How do you know? What does it mean? How do you know that when two women were miskadeshes, 1, 2, 3, aten mekudoshoisli, all plural, be tabadzu, shtei tabois, in one go, and their mother and daughter, and sister, siblings, how do you know that nothing ever caught? How do you know that nothing happened? Maybe one of them is mekudeshes, and I don't know which one, right? Maybe one of them would apply to her the being a wife, the wifehood, the Kiddushin, and the other one is her sister, so for at least to require a get, misofik. How do you know that nothing ever happened? Omar Rami Bar Chama says, I learned it from the Torah. It says in the Torah, Isha lechoiso letikach litzroir. You should not take a woman and her sister litzror. Litzror means do not create a matzav, don't create a situation of tzoro. What tzoro? Tzoro is what? Rivalry, right? A co-wife. Tzoro is a co-wife because she's a rival of the other wife. I guess co-wives are not so friendly with each other as the Mishnah says in Yovomis, yeah? They're not happy with each other. They fight over the same men. So therefore, whatever. But the point is, do not create a situation of tzoro, of two women together, but it does say Loshen singular Isha, one woman. How does Rami Bar Chama explain it? A Torah Omo, the Torah said, B'shosh shenasu tzor zulazu. If you created a situation with tzor zulazu, that together at the same time the Kiddushin are Kiddushin of tzoros, in one act you're creating two women, you make two women be what? Your tzoros to each other, you mekadesh both of them together. Lo yololikuchim afilu be'achas mehem. Even one of them would not have Kiddushin likuchim applied to her. That's why it says Isha and Litzro. Not even one Isha, not even one woman would be your wife if it's part of a double Kiddushin of Litzro. Okay, if they're related. If they're otherwise you can. But if it's mother, daughter, sister, and sister, that doesn't help. Okay? That's why the Mishnah says what it says. It's a din Torah. Yeah? If you're creating between two sisters, tzror, whatever, tzorois, then nothing ever happened, not even to one of them. Amale Rove says Rove, what you're saying doesn't make sense. Why? If you want to tell me that the Pasuk Davka talks about which situation is the Torah talking about? He married both of them in one go. And it doesn't apply. There's no Kiddushin, and that's a case of the Torah. If so, it doesn't make sense. Hainu dechtiv, when it says in the Torah, in a different Pasuk, regarding the same case, it says, V'nichetu anefoshet oisos mikerev amam, right? It says that it gets chorus if you have relations with your wife's mother, your wife's sister, your wife's daughter, then what? You get chorus, and so does she. Well, what do you mean you get chorus? Who gets chorus exactly? There is no such thing as my wife's sister. There's no my wife's daughter, not at least in the scenario of the Torah. Because if you're telling me that in case of Kiddushin that happened in one go, and that's the case of the Torah, you want to tell me. The case of the Torah was the Kiddushin of both of them in one go, and none of them is my wife. So there is no situation of my wife's sister. There is no wife's sister, right? Because none of them is my wife. None of them is my wife, right? So Koris mi mechayev. How can you have the situation of Koris? You can't tell me the Torah spoke about a case in which Koris wouldn't apply. Because you're really telling me the Torah is forbidding me to marry both of them in one go. The marriage won't apply. That I can have. That I can accept. It's true that it lets you Mekadesh and Eshet of someone else, Mekadesh your sister, the Kiddushin don't apply. Fair enough. But you can't say there's chorus. Why? My sister is my sister by birth, so if I have a thing with her, it's chorus. But She'enken, the wife's sister or the wife's mother, she's not my wife's mother because there is no wife, because nobody became my wife. There's no wife's mother because none of them became my wife. So there's no wife's mother if there is no wife. Who doesn't have a shviger? One who never got married. Yeah, many old singles nowadays, right? Right? So there's no such thing. It's an absurd. Elo Marov. Therefore, Rav is reinterpreting the pasuk and the Mishnah. Elo Marov. Therefore, Rav says otherwise. Kro bezeh achar zeh. The pasuk clearly is telling me, as we always thought, what? Your wife's sister. Zeh achar zeh. First, you married a woman, Rochele. You married Rochel, and what? She's your legal wife. And 5 minutes later, you saw her sister, such a nice girl. Your sister name is obviously Leah. And then you said, I'm going to marry Leah. And then what? By Leah, the Kiddushin don't catch. Rachel is your wife. 5 minutes later, you want to put the ring on the finger of Leah, her sister. So then Leah is not your wife. Leah is, and that's very good. And if you have relations with Leah, naughty boy, not naughty boy, chayv chorus, and so does Leah. And same thing with the mother, with daughter, and everything. So the pasuk is okay. Don't marry X. You can marry X, fine. But then Y, her sister, will not be your wife at all. And if you have relations with your wife's sister, you have chorus. Good. What about the Mishnah? Oh, so what? If so, the Mishnah that spoke about both of them in one go, what's the story there? Our Mishnah can be explained according to the concept of Rabbah. What did Rabbah say? Rabbah has the concept which applies b'chol Torah kula. This is going to be the concept which is going to follow us today through the entire Shiur almost. Listen to the Rabbah's statement. Kol she'enu b'zeh achar zeh, afil b'vas achas einoi. Kol she'enu b'zeh achar zeh. Anything that does not apply, if it's one after the other, then the second one doesn't apply. Then if both of them together, if you want to apply both of them together, then none of them applies. Which means, if you want to marry Rachel, Mazel Tov. Afterwards, there's only one space for one sister of that family. You want to marry somebody from family, I don't know, Levinstein. Rachel, there's only space for one girl. The Levinstein family has 10 girls. There are such families, 10 daughters, yeah? Now, one of them has space in your Kiddushin, Rachel. Everybody else, out. If so, if you can only marry one, and the next one in line has no room, halachically, Mimela, if Rachel and Leah, you Mekadesh both of them in the same time, in the same go, in one go, then none of them would apply. And that's a svara. Actually, Rashi says it's a poshet svara. Why should there be a suffix? There is no suffix. Because since, what do you mean we don't know? If you don't know which one it is applying to, it doesn't apply to anybody, right? They're both, yeah, it doesn't begin to apply. There's no room. One chair, two children, none of them sits on it. Finished, that's it. Yeah, none of them. It doesn't apply to anybody. And therefore, that's the rule. And we're going to see how this rule applies or doesn't apply to many other areas of Torah. Again, I'm repeating. When you have one halachic space, yeah, that can be occupied by one person, or later on we'll see other nafkaminas. These are sheep, by the way. Yeah, so then if I can only be Mekadesh one woman, number one. There is no number two. Number two, space taken, because you're the sister of my wife, can't marry you. Memela, what? If you're Mekadesh both sisters in the same time, 1, 2, 3, go, no. Then it doesn't apply neither to one nor the other. Which one should it apply to? Nobody. There's no suffix. I'm not mistupik which one it is. I know he wants to be Mekadesh both of them at the same time. He loves them both, or so he claims the same thing. He's Mekadesh, Maaseh Kiddushin, both of them at the same time. It doesn't begin to apply. Because both of them, who's going to eat first, as they say? No application whatsoever. That's the concept of, don't get confused with the names, because there also comes, that's Rabbah, quoted by Rove. Rove is quoting his Rebbe called Rabbah, saying that. Ad Kan, that is what Rabbah said, quoted by Rove. Nun Amud Beis. Nun Amud Beis is the very, very, very bottom of the page. Eisvei Abaye. Now Abaye is going to ask a question. Oi, oi, oi. Let me redo the whiteboard. Says the Heilige, yeah, not Abaye, Eisvei Abaye. Abaye is going to challenge what Rabbah said now. And let's read the statement and then explain and see the diagram. Hamarbe b'maiser, a person wants to give extra meiser. You see there are 10 grains of wheat over here. Instead of giving just 1 grain of wheat, he wants to be more religious and more of a nodiv, and he's giving the kohen, yeah, he's giving the Levi, whatever. No. These are grains. These are grains of wheat. It's all the, ignore this. These are grains of wheat. Instead of giving one, he's giving two. Yeah. These two, which is a fifth of the entire amount, 2 out of 10, he wants to give as Meiser. No, you think it's very nice. No, the more the better. The frumer, the better. Apparently, it's not so simple. A Meiser, a Malbe b'Meiser, the Roisov metukonim u'Meisos mekulkolin, which means you gave Meiser this and this, a tenth and another tenth, to a pater to exempt the other 8, right? No, not very nice. Why? Because really, I'm starting from the end a little bit, and much clearer for you. Let me ask you a question. Let's say he gave them not in one go. He did it in one go. He did it in one go. He did it in one go. That's exactly the name of the game. One go versus one after the other. Let's say that this person was given 1 grain, 1/10 out of the entire 10. All the others would be exempt, would be potter. That's it. He gave Meiser. He gave Meiser. You want to give a gift? Oh, that's very nice. You want to give a gift to the Kohen? Givaldig. You want to give a gift to the Koilel? More Givaldig. Very nice. But once you say it's Meiser, it doesn't catch. It's also the cruel musical chairs, right? Meiser was exempt. You tick the box, yeah? It's like you press on the same button twice, which is stupid, and people do that sometimes in elevator, right? Like it either worked the first time or it didn't, yeah? In other words, once you really gave the Meiser of the 1/10, the other 10th is just nothing. It's really null. Don't call it Meiser. It's not Meiser. And therefore, when you gave both of them in one go, what's the story? We say you gave both of them together. Okay, very good. Heroisov metukonim. Those 8 are gemeisered. Those 8 are kosher. You can eat them. But the Kohen or the Levi, actually, who received the Meiser Rishon, yeah, he cannot eat that. Why? Because this one is in trouble. Because one of those 2 is really extra. In your mind, you didn't give Meiser on it. You did not exempt it. You used it to exempt others. In other words, you didn't realize it's a problem. You treated it as if it was the solution. That's bad. In other words, really, this one, let's focus on this one, right? Number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 2 is a very big problem for us. Why? Really, number 2 is a problem. You have to take Meiser to exempt it, right? He needs another grain of wheat to kosherize it. But you didn't treat him like that. You didn't say this 10th is Meiser on him. You said, I'll giving both in order to pater others. He's stuck between, as we say in Hebrew, between the chairs. You call in English, he falls between the cracks. Because mitzad Meiser, he's not Meiser. He's not Meiser because really he's past the 10th, right? And mitzad Sheni, you didn't take Meiser on him. You treated him as if he's the Meiser. It's like you let not such a great example. You let a 5-year-old be the teacher of the class. He's not a teacher, he has to be taught. Yeah, this has to be gemeisered. It doesn't have to be the Meiser itself. But therefore what? But therefore we say, because the 2 are mixed together, the 2 mixed together, 1 and 2 are mixed together, and you give it to the Levi. We don't know which one is the good one. 1/10 is good Meiser. The extra 10th, making up the whole 5th, is not good because it's choshech vo me'urbovim b'yerbuvia. It's you have both together, therefore it's not good. But these are good. In other words, the Meiser, the other 8 pieces are okay. Why? Because there was Meiser, this one giving on them. There is inside the 5th, you have 1/10 which pattered the other 8. But this one alone is a problem. Why? Because part of it is not Meiser, something that should be, that's really tevel, that Meiser wasn't taken on. That's the pshat. But now that's not good. Why? According to you, Rabbah, what did Rabbah say? If I cannot apply X and then 1, then 2, if I can't apply 1 and then 2, or there's only room for 1, and number 2 doesn't apply, then none of them works. Here too, Bevas Achas, right? We said, if I did this first, it would be good, and the second one wouldn't be good. And when they're mixed together, what did we say? That they're a problem, but the rest of the Kri, the rest of the batch is okay. Lemaisa, because percentage-wise, Maisa was given on them. Too much, but Maisa was given them because they're Maisa and Chulin mixed, the Maisa is in trouble. But when you look this vis-a-vis all the rest are kosher because the Maisa was taken on them. Not true. Correct the and Rabbah, according to you, that shouldn't be. It's beautiful logic. V'amai, Nema, let us say, right? In other words, since the other tenth cannot apply if it came second, then if both tenths together, making up a fifth, are mixed together, then none of them should apply. And if none of them should be Meiser, then all the rest, the other 8, are not kosher because Meiser wasn't given. Because Meiser with non-Meiser mixed together don't work. That's like the two women. We don't say, okay, one of them is Mukadeshes, the other one is not. We don't know which one. No, none of them is Mukadeshes. Go home. And says the Gemara, no. Omer lei, no. It's not the same. Women and grains of wheat are not the same. Why? There are many differences. Omer lei, shiny meiser the isa lechatzoyim. Meiser is about percentage. Meiser you can give half and half. Soon I'll explain what it means. Baruch Hashem. Di omer tiskadesh palga dechitza. Let's say a person would say, I want half a grain to be kadosh, and another half a grain of the kadosh of the second one, kodsho, which means, let's play it this way. If I wanted, I could have said mefurash, I want half of this and half of this, right? I could have said, it's a game of percentage. There's no one holy wheat and one secular wheat. It's all about percentage. In other words, I could have said, I'm supposed to give a tenth. A tenth? A tenth is percentage. How do you divide the tenth? Well, that sounds like a textbook from Kita Aleph, from first grade, right? How do you get a tenth of the whole thing? Well, all kinds of ways. One guy would tell you a whole one. One would tell you a half and a half. Another would tell you a third, and a third. It's very modular and very dynamic. So it's all about percentage. Very good. At the end of the day, if I gave the two grains together, I could have done one half here and one half here. It's not like the musical chairs. It's not like, oh, there's space for one grain, that's it, and then the other grain. Lav dafka. If I wanted to, I could have said, I want half a grain from the first one, plus half a grain from the second one, and then I have a tenth, right? So it's all modular, as opposed to women, where you say, if you did it the right way, finished. There's no marrying half a woman, as we saw in Daf, I think, Vav Zayin, right? Same thing over here. Kiddushin is all or nothing. You mekadesh the woman, all the women, nothing but the woman. Then the second one has no room. But this one, there is room. Conceptually, there is. So when I'm giving the Levi the entire batch of 2/10, which is the fifth, I can say, listen, out of that, there is Meiser. I don't care which one. It's either this entire one or half-half. I could have given him 3 and say third. All I need is that a percentage. Oh, lemaise, but we don't regret what we said before. Regarding the lady eating those 2 pieces, he can't. Why? Because it's meiser and non-meiser mixed together. Because the white part here, meiser wasn't taken on it. You gave it as meiser, and now you were wrong. But regarding the other 8, we are okay. Why? Because all the other 8 need is that a certain percentage will be given to represent them. It be given to the Levi. The percentage was given. That's why it works. As opposed to by women, where it's very, very cruel and very clear cut. One is Mekudeshes, done. One, clearly cut. The second one, nothing. If there's one, yes, and the other one, absolutely no, then when they're both together, it's a mutual, complete no. That's the difference. That's the difference. Okay, pause for erasing the. That's very good. Next case is about Meiser Behema. So the way I put it in the diagram is like this. You have the sheep coming out of the pen, and Mr. What's his name? Shepherd, the face owner, what does he do? He has to take Meiser Behema. As we all know, the very scary Moshel and Rosh Hashanah, what happens, and that happens by us, happens by Behemoths also. Every 10th Behema, the master, the owner, has to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When the 10th one leaves the pen, then he, puts basically colors him, dyes him with a red dye. And we know that one goes as a korban. What kind of korban? Korban meiser. Meiser behema actually doesn't go to the kohen. Funnily enough, Meiser behema is eaten by the Israel in Yerushalayim. You bring the korban Meiser behema, and the Israel, which is you, the owner, you eat it in Yerushalayim, between the walls as Meiser behema. And as it happens to the best of us, we can get confused with counting. Sometimes people get confused as they count. The diagram here shows you the following. This is the real truth. This is sheep number 9, number 10, and number 11. And these are all kinds of confusion that may occur, right? These are what he said, and that's the real reality. Yeah, remember, this is the real reality all the time. That's 9, 10, 11. And these are all kinds of mix-ups that the person said. He called both of them 10th, as we'll see the different cases. Okay, I'm just explaining to you the diagram on the wall. Combination of art and math. Baruch Hashem. Weiter. Frek the Gemara. Tarei Meiser Behema. Yeah, we are getting to the end of the narrow lines. Meiser Behema. Look at the issue of Meiser Behema. The Leika lechatzoin. Yeah, there is no chatzoin, which means, as opposed to the grains of wheat, where it's very modular and I can play around and I can say number 9 is Meiser, number 10 is Meiser, half of 9 and half of 10. When it comes to behemoths, well, that's not true. Why? Let's say that I said about number, this is not even a diagram because it's so simple. Let's say I said bemazid, number 9 left the pen, said 9, 10, I said 10, and on 11 I said 10. 10 left already, 10 left already, and on the 11 I said what? 11 is 10. Well, very nice. No, it's 11, and I said that it's 10. I can say I am, I don't know, Hillary Clinton. I'm not. It doesn't make a difference, yeah? Baruch Hashem. Yeah, in other words, yeah, well, Ma'akesha, there's no such thing as calling it a different name. By percentage, you can play around. It's not percentage, it's a whole behema. And therefore, by behema, the leika lechatzoin, also you can't have half-half, right? You can't say, for example, also, each one will be half. You can't say number 9, and then 10 and 11, this is 10 and this is 10, and I want each one half of it to be meiser. There's no such thing as half a korban, right? There's no half a korban. No, no such thing. Either 10 is the korban or the 11th, and you know what? It's 10. And as I said before, and you can't say, you know, number 10 is 10 and number 11 is also 10. No, it's not. It's 11. That's clear. In other words, behemoths, the meiser behema is more similar to Kiddushin Isha. There's one woman mekudesh to you, Gamarnu, finished. The other one is not your wife, finished. It's very clear cut. So the Gemara is preparing. Don't give me those answers you gave before. By meiser, it's percentage. It's all relative. I can take from here. I can take from there. I can take a fourth. I can take as long as in total I have a 10. So I'm okay. By meiser behema, it's not like that. Meiser behema has to be one behema, which is only number 10, and that's about it. And yet, now that we're ready for the hit, let's see what we're going to see now. The Omar Rove. We may have to see Rashi now, but let's start without Rashi. Omar Rove. Yotzu Shnaim. Yeah. Omar Rove. Yotzu Shnaim Ba'asiri. Case number 1. 9. And then look at that. Oy v'voy. The two Shepsalach, they left together. Good friends. The two sheep left the gate of the pen together. Number 10 and number 11 left together. The Kron Asiri. And he called them 10th. He said 10th on both of them together. Similar to our story all the time. Bevas Achas, right? Oh, so you can get the story very, very clear, right? If I called him 10 and then I called him 10, one after the other, it won't work. If I said about number 11 separately, 10, talking nonsense. But if I said about 10 and 11 together, 1, 2, 3, boom, yeah, they jumped over the fence together, whoop, together, and I called both of them. This sign shows kilu together, yeah? This is the togetherness, this little spitzy over here. I called number 10 and 11, 10 and 10. No, what's the halacha? Murovin ze beze. Asir v'chadas murovin ze beze. What does it mean, murovin ze beze? Really, one of them is meiser. We don't know which one. One of them is going to be shlomim. Oh, interesting. The Gemara has droshes about it, yeah, in there in Maseches B'choros, and it says over there, meiser, which is not really meiser, which is an issue, becomes shlomim, like Pesach. A problematic Pesach becomes shlomim by default. So what do you do with these two behemoths? You know what you do with them? We may see it in Rashi, maybe not. Rashi says, well, the Kedusha applies to both, but we don't know which one which. So what do? You let both animals graze, yire ad shistav, a very, very common solution. You let them graze nicely, guard them, because they have Kedusha. One of them is Shlomim, one of them is Meiser. What do? Let them graze until shistav, until a mum falls in them, which is very easy, until they get a scratch. That happens naturally in the field, right? Until one of them gets some kind of mum. I'm not saying dafka scratch, but a mum. And then what? Oh, one of them should be sold, yeah, should be redeemed and another animal should be brought to Shlomim. So now we kilu selected that this behemoth should go to Shlomim. The other one remains Meiser, and Meiser, which has mum, the Bailam is allowed to eat it. That's a technical solution. Even if you didn't get that 100%, the main thing we have to know is that we don't say nothing happened. According to you, excuse me, you said what? That if number 10 is something and number 11 is nothing, then both 10 and 11 together should be nothing. And it's not. We're very concerned. We're making a whole balagan over here. We're saying, no. One of them is Meiser. One of them is what? We don't know which one's which, but one of them is Meiser, right? And one of them is Shlomim. Yeah? We just don't know which one is which. It's all confusion. But it does apply. Why? According to you, Rabba, and your friend Rova, no, you should say that nothing ever happened. All smug, all nothing. And none of them should be Meiser. Now restart counting. None of them is Meiser. Just like the two women, none of them begins to be my wife. So too, none of them should be beginning with Meiser. Why do you have to go to this whole Meiser? That's a very clear question. Yeah, the thing. Answers the Gemara. Shiny Meiser Behema. Meiser Behema is different. Why? The Isei Betos. Oh, by the way, I just want to explain why it's Shlomim. This is this. If you call number 10 9, yeah, let's say you got confused somewhere over here, but you do have a continuous logical counting towards the end. You somehow got mixed, or like when you count money, it can happen, right? You called number 10 9. Yeah, you're like one behind. You're one behind. And 11, you called 10. Yeah. So then it's not in such a case. We say because the 10 followed the 9, it's not nothing. When you say 11, when you call 11 10, stam, that's stupid. You said 10, then again 10. That's stupidity. But if you call number 10 9 and you call number 11 10, you're just one behind. But you have logical sequel counting. In such a case, number 11, which is called 10, will be Shlomim, and number 10, called 9, will be Maisa. This is just explaining the background. That's fine. In this case, when they're mixed together, then one is Meiser, one is Shlomi. We don't know which one. The Seder. But the Meiser, the question remains a question. Why? We didn't answer a question. Why? If you say the number 10 is 10 and 11 is nothing, because it's past the number 10, it's nothing, then both should be nothing. Just like by the women. One of them is my wife, the other one is a Shviger. Nothing started. So even wife and Shviger together being Mikudeshes, we don't start to fizzle and say, maybe that. No. We just say nothing happened. Why don't you say here? Nothing happened. You should have said X, nothing. Marnu, nothing at all. Why don't you say that? Ask Sabai, attacking Rabba and Rove. Answers the Gemara. Shiny Maisa Behema. Maisa Behema is different. The Isei Betos. Maisa Behema, a case of mistake may apply. Sometimes mistake of Maisa Behema are taken seriously, and the Kedusha does apply in the case of mistake, as we're going to see Bezos Hashem very clearly now. Ditnan. Look at the last case. Ditnan. This is, by the way, he said 10. Yeah? Ditnan. Call it Chi Asiri. Number 9, he called it 10, right? La Asiri Chi. For number 10, he called 9. He just got the number mixed up, right? Velechadesar Asiri. Then number 11, he called 10. Shloishton Mikudoshin. All three are Mekudoshim. All three are Kodesh in different ways. Why? Because, now, the Gemara says there, and Rashi says that the Gemara there explains why. Number 9, which is called 10, should be eaten bemumoy, should be eaten, wait until it gets a blemish, then you eat it. The real number 10, which by mistake you call 9, is Maisel. Number 11, which you call 10, is Shlomim. So you see over there that there is a situation in which, although number 10 is gone, number 10 is already Meiser. I called it the wrong name, but it's Meiser. Then came number 11 and called it 10. We don't say it's nothing. As opposed to the women, we don't say it's nothing, even if they came one after the other. By the women, once I married my wife, let's say 5 minutes later, I married my Shviger, nothing happened. Here we don't say that. Here we say that once you had number 10, there is a reason for that from the Psukim. Rashi doesn't say why. Number 10 is Meiser. Number 11 coming after that, as long as there's logical counting, then we say number 10 is considered as something, is Shlomim. Very good. If a mistake is taken seriously and we say that something happened, so too when both are in one go, also we say that something happened. What's a something? Shlomim versus Meiser. One of them will be shlomim, one meiser. We just don't know which one's which, and therefore it's not the same as for the women. This, in which case, this number 9, it's really number 9, and he called it number 10 by mistake. So because he called it number 10, it has some kind of kedusha, and therefore you should let it graze in the field until it gets mum, until it gets the blemish, and then you eat it b'kedusha. You eat it as if it's maybe a shlomim. It's a suffix. Yes. No, no. You bring that to shlomim to Beis Hamikdash. No. Here we don't know which one shlomim. In other words, this is a confused version of this. When you have number 10, he called it 9. In 11, he called 10. It's not nonsense. The case which is not written in the whiteboard is when I said about number 10, 10, and then I called number 11, 10. That's shtuyot. You said 10, and then you say again 10. Even a 2 years old know to say 10, 10. You say 9, 10, 11. So that's complete nonsense. That's not compared. The real comparison to this case, when I had some kind of sequel of logical sequence of 9, 10, I just got the one number off. Then 9, which is really 10, is the meiser, because that's a real 10. That's a real meiser. And 11, because it was a logical number here, 10 after 9, then we say shlomim. So that's different. If so, when they're mixed together, the same thing happened with a mixture of both together, both popped out together, and I called them 10 together, then there's a tzad to say it's a similar mistake. We don't know which one's shlomim, which one's meiser, and therefore they will be grazing in the field until aitam b'mumam. But it's not like the women. But the women, there's no such thing. So again, we did not yet find a case which is exactly similar to the case of the two women. Because Kiddushin is very, very tough. Kiddushin is one woman, all or nothing. There's no middle, no mistakes, no nothing. Yeah. Two women together. Yeah. That's general. Later, last question, last but not least, another attack of Abai on Rave and Rabbe. The Arei Toido, we get a lot of general knowledge here today. How many breads have to be brought together with Korban Toido? The person wants to say thank you to Hashem. Toido is the equivalent. Very good. 40. You bring 10, 10, 10, and 10. You bring four sets of 10 chalois, because you have to bring many people to your Suda Toido. You bring a lot of people. Now 4 of them go to the Kohen, and 36 remain yours. But all that actually does make a difference. All you have to know is that the toido comes with 40 chalois. Now it's important to know that those chalois, before the shchita of the korban, of the korban toido, they have kedushas domim, not kedushas aguf. They're kodosh. You can, play around with them. They don't have kedushas aguf. For example, if they stay overnight, they remain kosher. Once they shechted the korban, that sanctified the chalois to a higher level. Now, let's say they can't stay overnight to become noiser. Overnight, they're not allowed. For just one example out of many. So, the kids of the shchita of the korban, you brought 40 chalos to Beis Hamikdash. You come very nice with your animal still alive, with 40, 10 by 4 chalos to Beis Hamikdash, and that's where it should be. You shecht it, and then you eat. The kohen eats a part. You eat the other parts in Yerushalayim with your family with the chalos. Very nice. Harei toido. Now, the question is, what happens if the person brought more than 40? Let's again recap. Let's say you brought 40 chalois at the shchita, and then you brought another 40. Is there room for the other 40? No, that's it. Room for 40, like a bus. 40 only. Beyond 40? No. Okay. And that chacham, he brought 80. He comes to Beis Hamikdash, Mr. Chacham Gadol, with 80 chalois instead of 40. What do you make of that? So listen to what it says. What? Eat less, right? The question is, if they're kodosh, I'll eat more because it's not kodosh. Arei, no limitations. Arei toido, the leisa betos. By toido, there is no tos. In other words, if I brought, let's say, says Rashi, machlokas b'shamel b'silel, let's say by toido, as opposed to by what's the name, by the sheep, where a mistake is taken seriously, by hekdesh, there's no tos, which means, let's say I had at home, I baked 40 chalos that are black, some kind of chalas, and there are 40 others that are white. And I brought the black, and I was makdish the black, and I really meant to be makdish the white. It's not kodesh. If I applied the kedusha to the chalas, which I didn't really want to, it was just a technical verbal mistake, it doesn't apply. Okay. There's no ze'achar zeh. Once I brought 40 chalus and it shechted, that's it. Taken, boom. The other 40, nothing. And yet, so again, it's very cruel. It's like the woman. Why? One, boom, no other. No mistake, no mistake. There's 140 set to 40. Anything beyond that is rejected completely. So what happened if I brought 80 in one go? He shechted, and right next to it was 80 chalas. The balbas is grinning away. Oh, 80 instead of 40. Yeah, it's more from. Yeah, 80 chalas on top of the korban. What do you do then? Beitma. No, what does it say? Toida, shenishcheta al shmanim chalois. The 80 chalois that are brought together with the Torah, not only brought, the shchita, which is the crucial point, the pivotal point is what? That's when it sanctifies the chalois, are 80 chalois, and the guys like all smiling away, all being sure that this is all good. What do you make of it? What would you say according to Rava? Nothing, right? We said if only X applies and Y doesn't, and both X and Y are together, then nothing happened, right? They're both rejected. And look at that. What does it say there? Machlokes Amoraim. Chizkiya Omar, Chad shel Arba mitoch shmoinim. Chizkiya says that 40 out of the 80 are Kodesh. Bad news. Very bad news. Oh, how do you work that out, says Rashi, that the Gemara says over there in Menachos how that works? How do you work it out? Well, Lamaisa, only 40 are Kodesh and the other 40 are not. Good question, but it's not the issue right now. Lamaisa, this is very bad with Rava, because we see that we don't reject the whole thing. Rabbi Yochanan Omar, or Rabbi Yochanan is our friend. Rabbi Yochanan Omar, loy kat shel arba mitoch shmonim at all, not even 40. Says Rabbi Yochanan, all or nothing. Since I don't know which 40 are the right ones, none of them joins the game. None of them is Kodesh. Now, no. So what do you want from Rava? These are Amoraim. Chizkiya and Rabbi Yochanan are Amoraim. So why is it such a problem for Rava? Says Rashi, you know why? Because we believe Chizkiya more than Rabbi Yochanan. Chizkiya was the Rebbe of Rabbi Yochanan in Eretz Yisrael, and we prefer to listen to the Rav and not to the Talmud. So Rava is in kind of not such a good situation. Rava is kilu not joining the right party by being with Rabbi Yochanan. He should be with who? With Chizkiya that says that none of them applies, nothing happened. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, he should have been with, no, he is with Rabbi Yochanan that says nothing happened, and he should have believed Chizkiya that says that one of the two does apply. Bekitzer, Rava is against Chizkiya, and that's bad news. Yeah, Chizkiya said that 140 applies and the other doesn't, however that works. According to Rava, yeah, he follows Rabbi Yochanan that said nothing happened, or Rabbi Yochanan is not the halacha. Answers the Gemara, Lav Itmar Lo, didn't we learn about that? Didn't we explain over there? Omer Rabbi Shimon Levi. Rabbi Shimon Levi is also an Amoraim from Eretz Yisrael. Says Rabbi Shimon Levi the following. Rabbi Shimon Levi explains Machlokes Chizkiya and Rabbi Yochanan in a different way. We thought that what's a Machlokes? They argue about Rava, about Kol Shen V'Chazen V'Vasachas. Says Rabbi Shimon Levi, no. Hakol Moedim. Everyone agrees. Everyone admits. Everyone agrees. Kol Hecha de Omar Kachel Arboy Mitoch Shmoinim Kachi. Everyone agrees that if the person said 40, I brought 80, and we ask him, Mister, can you please explain 80? What's the story? Says Mr. Cohen upon accepting and receiving in Beis HaMikdash at the reception. And he says only 40 out of 80. Very good. I want to be makdish 40 out of the 80 with a shchita. Givaldig. Then very good. Then, yeah, very nice. Kachi la'arboi mitoch shmonim kachi. End of first case. Second case. Lo Kiddushin. Zoom was scared of me not banging on the table, maybe. I don't know. Not used to Israeli behavior. Sorry. I don't have time to report to you. I'm sorry, 1 second. Okay, let's continue without. I mean, I'm not gonna make you suffer. Okay, let's continue. Weiter. There is Wi-Fi. So weird. Okay, weiter. But second case. Lo Yikdushu. Let's say he said Lo Yikdushu Arboim Elim Ken Kachi Shmoinim. Oh, let's say the person now, second case. He said I don't want the 40 to be Kodesh unless 80. He's adamant, only 80. Says the guy, it says in the Chumash 40, I'm Frumer. Only 80. Or nothing, says the person bringing the Korban. Everyone agrees, Loikadshi. Oh, Rav is the winner. Everyone agrees that since there's the first 40 and second 40, the second wouldn't apply. If all 80 are together, nothing applies. Like Rove. Like Rove. Baruch Hashem, finally. So what's the machlokes? So when did they argue Chizkiya and Rabbi Yochanan? Lo nechleku ela bestam. The person didn't say anything. He's bringing it and then he went to toilet. I don't know. He's not available. You don't know. He didn't say anything. You can't get out of him the idea. Really? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Why? Because that would be against Rova. No, just the first 40. He brought all 480 together, by the way. There is no first. So what's the machlokes? The first opinion, which is Chizkiya, that says that 40 out of 80, they do work. He believes that what the person probably meant, the person is not that foolish. You know what he means to do? He wants to bring an extra badge. He's a very well-planned guy. He has, like every good American, he has plan A and plan B, right? Very good. So he says I have 40. If those 40 flunk, they become tome, lan, something happens to those 40, the bird's going to eat them. Then the other 40, as there is a chrayas, as a backup plan. Mimele, it's very good. Mimele says, Rabbi Yochanan, they're holy, the holy. The first 40, however you define first, 40 are Kodesh. The other 40, as he himself meant, are only there as an extra. And Rabbi Yochanan says, no, he means to bring 80. If he doesn't say anything, he means to say 80. And if he said 80, or he means to have 80, that's not good. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Right. Okay. So let's summarize. Rove was right. Rove says what? If one thing, if Allah applies to one piece and not to the other one, then if both are together, and there's no way of percentages or mistakes or stories, if it's something like the Chalas of Beis HaMikdash or the woman, if it doesn't apply to the second one, and you did them both together, 1, 2, 3, boom, then it doesn't apply to any of them. For the Gemara now another question, which is preparing us for the next sugya. The Rove, lama lelishnuye kiraba. The question is, Rove, when you had to explain the Mishnah, why did Rove say everything? Why did Rove say what he said? To explain the Mishnah. What did the Mishnah say? What did the Mishnah say at the beginning? A man approached a wife, let's say 2 sisters, and he said, 1, 2, 3, Harayat Mukadosh asleep, boom, ready, steady, go. Yeah, in one go, I'm Mekadesh both of you. What did we say in the Mishnah? Who's Mukadeshes? Which one of them? None. They're both nuns. N-U-N. Yeah, they are not Mukadeshes, no Kiddushin. Why? Why not? Says Rove. I'll tell you why. Because Kol Shen was the first, then both together doesn't apply either, right? If a Mekadesh Rochel and then Leah doesn't work, Rochel and Leah together doesn't work either. That's a very nice idea, Rove. But why did you have to say that? Lama lishnu kiraba. Why did you have to answer like Rabba's statement, the Rabba's concept? Typically, you could have answered a better answer. Kiddushin she'en mesur nabi aninhu. We're not preparing for the next sugya, and that is as follows. We're about to embark after the 2 dots, literally in the next line. We're going to see now Mechlokes Abba and Rove about Kiddushin she'en mesur nabi, which means Kiddushin, let's a person Mekadesh a woman in such a way that he will not be able to have relations with her. What do you mean? Now that he made a neder, all kinds of stupid things, that doesn't apply to shtuyot. But let's say the person was Mekadesh, one of 2 sisters. A person said, he approached the 2 sisters and he said, one of you is Mekudeshes to me. And he didn't say which one. He didn't specify which one. So now it's not like the case of the Mishnah. Why? Here we're talking about a case of one of 2 sisters Mekudesh to me. I don't know what he thinks. That's another question. But he didn't specify. The rabbi and the Adim and even the girls were both willing to marry him. Nobody knows which one is the wife and which one is the sister. It's not like 2 in one go. He says one of you 2 girls is Mekudesh to me. So there's a suffix. Abaye says, listen, it's a suffix. It's not like implying 2 in one go, which definitely doesn't apply. What do we say? One of them is a wife and one of them is a wife's sister. So of course, both of them should require a get. because we don't know which one is the wife, which is okay, which one is the wife's sister. Now he cannot touch none of them. Yeah, he can't touch any of them. Why? Because you may be touching your wife. Amazing. I wish you shalom bayis and mitzvahs oina. But if you touch your wife's sister, you're touching an Isser chorus. So because you practically can't know who's who, therefore, Abaye says, well, it's still a suffix, and it's marriage, not marriage that can actually take place, but you need a get. But Sheikhin Rove says no, because intrinsically, right from the start of the Kiddushin, we don't know which one's the wife, so you cannot touch his wife, because his wife may be an erva. Mimena the Kiddushin never ever started, nothing happened, you don't need a get. That is a famous machloikes. You know it's very, very famous? Because it's one of the 6 places in Shas where Abaye was right. The only 6 places in Shas when Aloch is like Abaye against Rava in a machloikes, and that's one of them. We learned it in Kita Dalet when I was 10. Ya'al Kagam. Yud Ayin Lamed Kuf Gimel Mem. So I'll go back to age 10. Yushalom Midas, 8 Zomim Lekan Al Bon Mafron Nifsal. Or Lemefran Nifsal, Lech Yomed Me'elov, Kiddushin Tezvov, Kiddushin Shalom Sur Labia. Hey, that's here. Gilu Das Beget and Mumor Oichel Nevelas. Yeah, there's 6 places where Abaye is right. That's one of them. Frek Degmo and Rove, why do you have to command to the reason of Rabbah of if the one after the other doesn't work, then both of them don't work together? Tepuk Kiddushin Shen Mesur and Labianinu. At the end of the day, these are Kiddushim that can't be actualized, right? Even if we said, right, at the end of the day, it's at least a suffix. And according to you, Kiddushin Shen Mesur and Labia, because I can't have relations with any of them at the end of the day, whichever way you twist it around, you can't touch any of them, because it's always, even if it's a suffix, right? So I can answer simple, follow your own logic. And you said Kiddushin that can't be, I know you say it in English, consummated. A Kiddushin that it cannot be consummated are not Kiddushin to begin with. Why didn't you answer that? Why didn't you answer that? Follow your own logic. Bring something from your own agenda. Answers the Gemara, Lidvov Dami Barchama Komar. Enochinami. You ask Rava privately, Rava will tell you this Mishnah is because of Kiddushin Shenim Musur and Labia. Kiddushin that are not for Bia are not Kiddushin. Elamai. I wanted to answer Rami Barchama. What did Rami Barchama say? Rami Barchama started saying that the Pasuk in the Torah is telling me about 2 sisters getting married in one go. That I refuse. And I told Rami Barchama, L'shitoscho, if I follow your logic, I would break what you're saying to 2. The Torah spoke about marrying X and then marrying X's sister. And then, if you did it both together, then, yeah, he's like tweaking the words of Rami Barchama. He did it both together, then nothing applied. But if you ask Rava, Rava has his own reason, as we're going to see now. Are you okay, Tzvi? You seem to be something questionable about Kiddushin Sur Labia. We will see much more of it, yeah? Oh, very good. The Gemara. So for that, you have to continue. Because Rava has a verse from the Bible, from the Old Testament, that he believes supports him. That's why. I hear you. It's a good question. Very good. And the answer will come soon. There's a pusik, according to Rava, where he learns from the Kiddushin Shalom Sur Labia is not Kiddushin. Ellen.
When it mentions beer, why does it mention chuppah? Because then he would know who's his wife.
Why would he know?
Because
why would he know?
Kiddushin comes chuppah.
But he didn't know to begin with. What? Yeah. Yes. They both arrive in the chuppah. What do you mean he doesn't know? He does know himself. In who? Yeah, he's right. Yosef is right. Who's going to come to the chuppah? Who? Who will come to the chuppah? No, because we is osur. No, chuppah is okay. I can send out of the chuppah with anybody I want. Chuppah is not an Easter. You can't have relations with your wife's sister. And since you don't know which one is the wife, which one is the sister, in Rava's case, not in the mission's case, then you can't touch any of them technically, because it's 50% Easter chorus. Would you risk 50% Easter chorus? No, you don't go to Har Bayit. What? Make me faces? No, Yosef was right. Nobody would come to the chuppah, because chuppah means that afterwards there's a cheder yichud, which is bad enough. I mean, if it's osir, and then there's a bedroom. What's chuppah for? To just have Yaakov Shweki singing? So nobody should come to the chuppah. And if they did, it doesn't make a difference, by the way, because he doesn't know who's his real wife. And 50%. Who cares? These are very technical, minor things comparing to Bia. It doesn't make a difference. And Yosef was right. If they have their head on their shoulders, then nobody should come to the chuppah because we don't know who is the right one. Every girl, each one of the two girls is a Sophic Kores, is a Sophic wife sister. So you don't continue. What should you do with them? Oh, depends who you ask. According to Abaye, give a get to both of them. According to Rava just laughs it off. And Rava says because the Kiddushin right from the start was a situation nobody knows. It's not like we know. Nobody knows. Even the Chosin doesn't know. Or maybe he knows. He's not telling us. He's playing games. But the Chosin, the way he verbalized it in the Kiddushin, the Chosin said, one of you two is Mekudesh to me. Here, take it together. The two of you, they both extend their hands, or one of them representing the other. 1, 2, 3. Hooray, at one of you two girls standing here with the white gowns, one of you is Mekudesh to me. Which one we don't know. But he wants to apply the Kiddushin to one, not to both together like in the Mishnah. Right? But which one is it? Technically, we're stuck right from the start. Oh, I want to emphasize something, and we won't go further today. What happens if a week after the chasana, let's say a week after the chasana, her twin sister arrives? Sounds like a soap opera, right? You know, a week after the chasana, after Shevrochas, her identical twin arrives. Oh, then, of course, and he doesn't know which one's which, and they all get confused. They play games with him. I don't know, whatever. Then Zichar, there's Kiddushin. Because when he started the Kiddushin, he knew it was Mekadesh. And the mistake happened later. That's not a question. The Gemara is going to mention it. But if at the very, very root of the Kiddushin, the very, very starting point of Kiddushin, we don't know who's the right one, then Rava says nothing started because those Kiddushin are not beable, are not consumable, and therefore it's not Kiddushin. Well, Rabbi says it is Kiddushin. What do you mean Kiddushin? You have to give a get because you can't technically continue, and you can't continue to the chuppah. Unless I misunderstood you, but are you with me? I mean, the chuppah is just continue. The chuppah is the stage. You know what chuppah is? I'll tell you what chuppah is. The chuppah is the stage, and I'm very adamant with what I'm saying. It says kala b'loy bracha. We saw it recently. Asur l'bayla kenida, which means it's a kala. She's his wife because she's mekudeshes. Before chuppah, you're not allowed to have relations with her. Oh, chuppah is the station, the stop, the stage between kiddushin and, excuse my language, the bedroom. So that's chuppah. But according to Rava, you don't continue to chuppah because kiddushin never really started, according to Rava. And according to Abaye, get should have been given right after the kiddushin. Yeah.
So, when you go through the process, maybe I'm mixed up 40 days of Shiur, when a person marries a color, I do the decking, I look and see who they're marrying now. And I don't
He didn't.
Years ago.
Yes.
Right. So,
But he was confused right at the start.
okay, so
He's not confused not knowing who's who. He's doing it on purpose. He created the confusion. He said, one of you sisters Mekudesh to me. He sees them. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, we started at conviction, right? Rabbi says nothing happened. Abai says something happened, right? But then it goes on to beer. Now, about a second, there's processes before beer. There's processes.
I didn't say that they do beer because beer cannot be done. Beer cannot be done, right? No.
That's right.
So why is the chuppah process? Well, what does it make a difference?
Because it goes through a process. Then,
So what? So what?
And then,
So what? And therefore what? And therefore what?
He's seeing who is marrying.
No. What do you mean who is marrying? No. Again, he wasn't confused. He saw them at Kiddushin also. He saw. By the way, they're not identical twins in Rov and Abai's case. One of them is short and blonde. The other one is fat and black. I don't know. No, they're not the same. But he is purposefully creating a mistake. He said he sees them very well. He knows them very well since childhood. These two sisters. They played baseball with him when he was 3. Okay, and he knows them well. And he decided to make it. Why is that happen? Why is the person a cuckoo? It's a good question. He needs psychological help. He knows who they are. He knows who they are very well. But he created a confusing kiddushin. He says, one of you sisters mekudesh to me. And fine. So he doesn't have to recognize them, the Bedekin. He knows who they are. Yet the kiddushin is intrinsically, essentially confused. Because one is the sister and one is the wife. And we don't know which one's which. Even he doesn't know. Or maybe he knows and he's not saying, so we as Adim don't know. That's another question. But we the Adim, we the Beis Din, we are all Beis Din over here. Whenever we learn Gemara, you're like the Beis Din. The Beis Din, the Edim, don't know who he meant. He says, one of you two. So therefore, since all things started with confusion, when I say confusion, I mean that technically cannot have bia with any of them, because any of them is 50% achois isha, kores isu, terrible isu, then the Kiddushin can't go on. So therefore, as you very nicely said, according to Abai, you need get, and according to Rava, it's nothing. I was recording all the time. Even worse, now the shtiyot that I said.
Well, it's easy to obliterate. You can
I think I'll give the share again.
So the Gemara is saying after Kiddushin, if